I had a roommate in UP, and she was telling me about her cousin who joined the Navy from Subic Bay, took a test, and joined the Navy. And at that time, I was having issues with my parents being so strict. And I figured, I need to do something where my parents won't worry about me, where they know there's discipline and all of that, just like in Assumption, so much discipline. To me, that was the way for me to convince my parents that let me do something different. So, and that's exactly what happened. I asked them, take me to Subic, I want to take this test. Family day. Okay, take her to Subic. So we went to Subic. When I got there, I had to take a test. There were, I guess, about 45 men, and I think I was the only female. So I took the test, and the recruiter came out and said, "Oh, we're sorry, but only one passed." And then they called my name. So there, I said, "Okay, hey." So I passed. I was not that surprised, no, but I was in the sense that I was the only one in the whole room. So then they wanted me to leave to go to the States in a week. It was really, very fast. And of course, my parents said, "No way, Jose, are you going anywhere?" And especially not military, because according to them, the only people who join the military are those that need a good life or whatever. And you have a good life. That's what they said to me, And I said, okay. But so I had to stay. And it was my brother who helped convince them to let me go. But it was one of those things where you have very strict parents and you couldn't fly. My parents were really, you do what we say. The military is one where they have specific rules and regulations, and you just follow them. If you follow them, it's a piece of cake. Just like in Assumption, when the nuns say you cannot borrow pencils and pens, you don't do it. So it was really not very difficult for me because I'm compliant. Absolutely, because Assumption girls didn't join the military. They were either in careers where, from family businesses or things like that, no? Or doctors or things like that, but nothing. Military was never something that an Assumptionista would ever talk about. It actually meant a lot when I got my orders to come to the Philippines. I was thinking, wow, I haven't been back for years. And then to come in as an executive officer, and then after that, finding out when the Senate decided that they don't want the bases anymore. And it was a 3-year tour for me. And it was cut short because of what happened here. And so instead of being an executive officer only, I was then fleeted up to become the commanding officer for communications, telecommunications, and computers. So all the communications of the military, Navy military here around the world were run by us. And so when we left, we had to move the communications to a ship, and then the ship took over comms. In the military, you have orders, right? There are certain things, targets that you're supposed to meet, ways that you're supposed to do things. And so if you follow that, you won't really have a problem. Your problem becomes unruly sailors, the discipline of sailors. And of course, in Subic, Ocampo was, like a feast day for a lot of sailors. So that's very difficult. But other than that, if a sailor knows what they're supposed to do and they do it, then they stay out of trouble. And that's basically what I ended up doing. I'm the type of person who I feel seen because I'm pretty confident when I'm doing something. And I'm also not afraid to say when something is wrong. In fact, I had a reputation that if I went into my boss's office and I needed something done, and he'd say, "Nope, we can't do it," I would say, "Okay," and then I would leave. I would find a way to make it happen. And I always did that. But it was almost like a challenge to me. And I would say, it's either I'm not good enough in explaining to him what I need, or he's kind of stupid, I would think. But that was what I would think in my mind. I think as a woman, I've always had that opportunity to do the right thing. And I think I always wanted to be an example to not only Filipino women, but American sailors as well. And again, it's integrity. You do the right thing all the time. And when you can't do the right thing, then you find a way to change whatever that is. I would say, just the young in general, if there is something you really want to do, find a way. Because I think everyone should be able to do that. I would think that people who I've encountered during that time would remember me as, oh, she was good. She knew what she was doing, and she had the integrity that people want to see. That's what I would say.